There's a bit of a stigma when I was at school. It didn't bother me because I was one of the bigger boys, but I mean, it wasn't great for self-esteem, really.
I felt stupid and I felt less than other people then, and I was so little and I can still remember that feeling.
I didn't like that feeling. However, that feeling is part of what kicked me to work harder and try to overcome.
I have no regrets about having dyslexia at all. I think it gave me different strengths and resilience and made me focus on my skills as soon as I found them.
Dyslexia has made me, helped make me the man I am today.
So many of our dyslexic learners that are in our classrooms that go unidentified, certainly they suffer because they're not able to reach their full academic potential. But I would say even more than the academic consequences, the social, emotional problems that come with it are catastrophic. To sit in a room and know that you're capable and yet not be able to show it year after year can be devastating.
If their own strategies do not work, then the child often becomes disappointed in themselves. That can then lead to having an impact on their self-esteem and also their confidence.
When you're young, you really are developing who you're going to be and how you feel about yourself. And when you're spending 8 hours a day in a classroom struggling and being the weakest one or pulled out to be worked one-on-one with, you understand and you get it very early on.
Children will very quickly become disengaged and frustrated if you don't allow them to show you what they can do and if all you give them is things that they find hard. My son, he's now 17, he had to take a times table test each week, and if he didn't get 20 out of 20, he was not allowed to move on to the next times table. The messages are very clear and they're very public, there's a lot of shame involved in that.
We need to be careful as educators and just as humans in general about what we say in these very important younger years for students. That one negative comment can really have adverse effects on them for years and years to come.
The child can easily assume that they're not very clever. And if that begins to happen, that can have an impact on everything.
If a child is not diagnosed with dyslexia and they do kind of slip through the cracks, of course there's so much wasted time and potential in that. But the older they get, again, that self-esteem and self-confidence plays such a role not only in the classroom but outside of the classroom as well.
If a child has struggled for years and years and years and not received the support that they need, it becomes so much more difficult to get them to believe in themselves again, for them to really own and understand I am capable.
Early identification is crucial. The earlier a student can understand that they're dyslexic, we have a fighting chance to really keep their self-confidence intact.
Understanding that you have dyslexia helps massively in terms of how a child and a parent can then respond to the nature of the difficulty.
Many parents, I think, with the best of intentions, are reluctant to accept or to label their child as dyslexic because they have a misconception that it's going to mean all of these negative things. Whereas in reality, it's important for parents to embrace it, to lean into it, and to focus not only on the struggles, but also the strengths so they can help guide their child through this. Because many students will find that very label to be the most empowering, freeing part of the entire process.
The parents knowing that a student is dyslexic really gives them the pathway to start walking down, that there's a direction that they can go in now.
The number of parents I've spoken to who have said to me, we've been transformed at home by understanding the nature of this difficulty.
For the teacher, it helps to know that there's a reason why they're not memorizing their spelling words, or there's a reason why they can't read. When you understand that at the root of the problem is a learning difference, you can now begin to come to the student with different strategies or approach them with learning in a different, new way. So they feel engaged, they feel empowered, and all of a sudden, learning is attainable again.
As an educator, it's really your responsibility to make sure that you're providing a positive and encouraging classroom and one that allows a dyslexic to really show their strengths and abilities as they have so much to offer.
It's incredibly important that in a school environment, Everyone, the PE teacher, the lunch lady, the crossing guard, that everyone has an understanding of what it means to be dyslexic. And so that when a child in their setting might struggle with multiple step instructions or appear to not be paying attention and they interpret it as disrespectful, it's so important that everyone have this understanding, this foundation of what it means, so everyone can support a child in every environment.
An important thing to tell dyslexic children is they're not alone. They're not the only person that has struggled in school, that has had to overcome these challenges of reading and spelling. There are actors you can refer them to. You can show them an engineer who's found success. There are astronauts and there are authors and painters. Anything that they can dream of, they can become.
Every single classroom should be equipped and ready and knowledgeable about what is dyslexia and how do we serve and support students that have it.
So dyslexic children know really early on that they're not able to do the other things that the kids are being asked to do in the classroom. And unless you pick that up early and enable children to understand where their strengths are and where their challenges are, you feel like a failure. It happened to me, it happens to all dyslexic children. So it's essential that we actually pick these kids up early and give them the support they need.
Concentrating on a day-to-day basis of bringing those positive aspects and strengths of dyslexic thinking to the forefront, because that's how this poor self-esteem is then turned into confidence, because a dyslexic who has confidence is truly unstoppable.
Imagine a world where you've got, where you've got like a force of people who have this gift of dyslexia educated in a way that supports them. It means anything's possible, It means anything is possible. And that's the sort of thinking that leaders have. That's the sort of thinking that evolves humanity. That's the sort of thinking that, allows freedom, of expression and the potential for anything.